Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with Trader Summit, and I have Mr. Richard Matthews of One.io. He is with us today. How are you, Mr. Matthews? Good to see you.
I'm very croaky this evening. So I don't know if I've got the first day of a cold or COVID, but yeah, it's like as Mick Jagger wrote, there's a crossfire hurricane going on outside. There's a hell of a storm blowing, and I think we got the storm coming in the financial markets, haven't we?
We sure do. When you say croaky, sometimes croaky, well, as an American, croaky might mean like I'm just grumpy, but
No,
croaky for you
no.
means you might actually be like a frog, sick frog, like croak.
Yeah,
Croak, croak.
strep throat.
Oh,
Strep throat. I think you say it's really. I know I've got a weary old voice, and someone said it just sounds like whiskey and cigarettes, too much of it. But maybe that's the answer. But it is not brilliant. So,
well, we're gonna speed this up for you. Not keep you here forever, but would love to get your views on the market, because it seems like to me that the FX market is just kind of it's not really moving a lot. So why is that?
I guess we're just marking time. After the what word you use, tragic, dreadful. I mean, I don't think there's a word to describe what's gone on in Israel. I think the FX markets, like most people, are just going to sit there, mark time, watch what happens. There's so many imponderables there. Worst case scenario is that the fighting spares. Hezbollah gets involved up in the north, drags Iran in, drags the US in, drags Russia in. There's a big build-up of weapons down there. I don't think that's the famous last words. Personally, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Iran talking about, you don't know what we're going to unleash. I think they might blockade the Straits of Hormuz, however you pronounce it. In which case, oil goes through the roof, I guess. Russia and Saudi are happy with that. Inflation comes back. Bonds look a little bit vulnerable in that case. That's to me a worst case scenario. It's getting away from FX, but I think that's the thing that maybe people are waiting for. Flight to safety. Buy dollars, buy gold, buy Bitcoin.
Buy Bitcoin. Look at you. Just because you're at One.io doesn't mean you should be buying Bitcoin.
They'll love it. And they're going to analyze.
You excluded something, Richard. You excluded the bond market. Now we've seen 10-year yields. They rallied quite substantially today. We looked like we were marching our way up to 5%. 20-year auction just went off.
Yeah.
We're seeing yields back up a little bit, but we're also seeing stocks come down. And is there a point that we get, despite all the issuance that's coming, everybody knows there's the market's getting flooded with bonds. Is there a point where you start to catch a bid in the bond market just from a risk aversion standpoint?
Yes, you're quite right. You buy dollars, you buy bonds, you should see the rally. But actually, if you get a full-scale, full-blown war, you're going to see even more issuance than you're seeing, because you're going to have to fund that war somehow. So that would be my slight worry on that. And I also actually saw that Waller was talking about QT, that they're going to reduce the size of the Fed's balance sheet quite dramatically over the next 3 years. So I think that's going to tighten the market as well. I'd be very wary of buying bonds. I think 2 weeks ago I said might buy a bit of bonds, might sell a bit of dollars, just for it was overdone. It's too far. I would be really, really worried about being long of bonds.
Yeah, well, if it was overdone, a week or two ago, it's even more overdone now. But it could be even more overdone, right? I mean,
well, is it overdone? Is it overdone? That's the question. Or are we getting to a point where we're actually getting back to a proper level for the 10-year bonds? You could argue we are. Inflation ain't not going to go much lower than it is at the moment.
Yeah.
And you want a risk premium over 10 years? Hey, it's probably not a bad price.
Yeah. All right. Well, shifting gears back over to the currencies, we saw out of the UK, we saw some, little warm inflation data overnight. CPI data came in better is not the right term. Hotter than expected. Better, not for you, right? But
no,
But PPI came in a little weaker, so it's hotter-ish. Sterling spiked up and gave it all back. I mean, it can't hold a bid. So how do you read that?
I think it spiked up. I think people say, "Oh, the Bank of England's going to hike one more time in 2 or 3 weeks' time," and then they thought about it. But the chances of that happening in a few weeks' time against something really nasty happening in Israel and the dollar getting a real bid, let's get out of this and quickly and took their profits. We've also got 2 by-elections in the UK tomorrow. Mid-Beds, which has been a Tory seat since God was a boy. They could lose that seat, and that could put Sunak under real pressure. I'm not saying that there'll be a vote of no confidence in him, but it could be a moment when people start looking at going, hey, this Conservative Party's beaten. We've got an election definitely within the next year, if not sooner. Will Sunak want to fight that? Will we get a vote of no confidence in him? They try and get a new leader on board. Yeah, we love a change of leader in this country.
Yeah, it seems like you guys do it every year, at least.
But hey, at least our leaders know where they are.
So staying on the same subject, then. So you have an election tomorrow, right?
Yeah, by-election tomorrow.
I'm sorry,
a by-election. They're 2 elections of Conservative seats, both of which are quite safe. Nadine Dorris, who is in the government, is the one in Mid-Beds. It's going to be tight, real tight. Starmer, I don't like talking about politics, but Starmer's trying to look more and more like the next Prime Minister, trying to be more statesman-like. He's been quite uncontroversial with his policies. So I think, just there's a time for change in the air. Historically, Sterling doesn't like Labour governments. There's a knee-jerk reaction. I think that might be starting to come into play. But still, the only real game in town, and it's wrong to call it a game, is actually watching what's going on in the Middle East and flight to safety.
Yeah, flight to safety it would be. All right, so nail it all down for us before we let you go. Flight to safety. What are we buying? What are we selling?
I'd be buying dollars. I'd be selling sterling. I'd be selling euros. I think the euro again is vulnerable because of energy. I don't think Putin is going to sit there and just say, "Oh, that's great. Let's flood Europe with oil cheaply." If it does kick off in the Straits of Hormuz, so I'd be very wary of that. There's also an explosion in one of the gas pipelines. Did you see that from between Finland and Estonia?
I did not see that.
Yeah, just an explosion, underwater explosion, happened to be on the gas pipeline. Ooh, I've heard that story before. So I'm a bit wary of winter's coming. It certainly is coming here outside. So I'm wary of the euro because I think you're going to see gas prices, electricity prices go up, which they're very vulnerable to. Fundamentally, I never liked sterling. I just think it's got its own problems. I think this by-election could unsettle the market. And in the end, the dollar is king. Well,
I thank you for providing us that very useful information. And let me ask you this before I let you go: best way for traders to follow your work?
I'm on Twitter. I'm my own name at Dickie Matthews and at IO on Twitter and on LinkedIn. But you can always contact me. Drop me a note, tell me I'm talking nonsense. I'm used to it.
That means jump down below and let Mr. Matthews know exactly how you feel, and make sure you give him a big thumbs up while you're doing that. So, Richard, I hope you feel better. I hope we do get to meet up next week as we try to meet once a week. So let's hope you avoid the strep throat. And I'm going to leave it at that, so you can go rest your throat.
I will. Thanks, Blake. Cheers now. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye. Hey traders, Blake Morrow here. Thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also click the bell notifications so you do not miss any of our market-related trading analysis from some of the leading industry experts. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you in the next video.